All right, we are live, and the New York Mets just won a game, just won a series, and I don't think anyone even cares. If a baseball team wins a meaningless series in the middle of August, does it make a sound? The answer is I don't think so. This is little Barstool confessions time. I saw Papa Clem yesterday. It was like 5 o'clock at night. He came back from work. We were at the house, and he goes, Mets won. And I go, yeah, they lost the next game, though. And he's like, no, they lost today. And I was like, Dad, I've been so busy today. I forgot the Mets were even on at 1 o'clock today. But the Mets win, and luckily, it's Clem and the Meekville here for another episode of We Gotta Believe, and our Pittsburgh Pirates insider is going to give us the ins and outs of this entire series that had New York on the edge of its seat. How we doing, Philip?
I'm doing good. I'm trying to remember. So McGill was yesterday. Peterson was the night before that they lost. I already forgot who pitched. Oh, Cookie pitched Monday. There we go. I'm starting to remember.
Cookie pitched Monday, and the most Cookie line of all time. 3 innings, 2 earned. 88 pitches. What a fucking donkey.
I remember Peterson Tuesday night had like one of the most ridiculous stat lines I've ever seen. It was like 3 2/3 innings, 94 pitches. He had like one earned run on like 10 base runners. Like, I've never seen anything like that. He literally he almost had 100 pitches in the 4th inning and couldn't get out of it.
Oh, it's like I don't know if paint drying is the word. It's like paint drying as your fingernails are being ripped off is what it's like watching this team sometimes, even when they win. Because again, you have Cookie, and then it's like, well, here we have the bullpen game. So we had Cookie, Miller, Coonrod, Bickford, got Ottavino. That was our pitching performance on what was that, Monday night. And then Tuesday, Peterson, Butto, Hartwig, Smith, Raley. And then yesterday, McGill, Bickford, Raley, got Ottavino. Just as we drew it up, just as we knew it was going to be opening day of 2023, the $500 million New York Mets. That's what we're dealing with here, Phil. It's the fucking Mets, man. It's tough. It's tough.
Well, I'll give you something to be happy about. Mets, we had the highest payroll coming into the year. The Yankees were number 2, and we're just as far out of a playoff spot as the Yankees are. I checked the Yankees are 6.5 out, and we're 7.5 out. But that's something. And the Padres were the 3rd highest, and they're only like 2 games better than us.
Yeah. So that is a segment I'm going to have later in the episode. It's called Misery Loves Company, and then we're just going to talk about the guys across town who are having their fair share of struggles. As you predicted on Monday's show, Phil was right. He said the Braves are about to do damage to them, and he was 100% right. Hopefully, God willingly, based on those numbers you just said, we could have an entire offseason of, does spending in baseball really matter? Should you actually not spend money to have a good team? And you reference a couple teams that are good because they tanked and have a bunch of young players, and a couple teams that, had an anomaly or just, shit the bed, like the Mets, the Padres, and the Yankees. So we'll get into that. And for all the teams, all the fans of all the teams that suck like those 3 teams do, get yourself a Coors Light. You got to get yourself a Coors Light. Baseball, it's a burning fire during the season. You get so hyped every single pitch of every single inning, 162 games, at least 9 innings of every game, and you're just living and dying with every pitch. But at some point, if your team just collapses, you have to just enter that retired state of mind. Not everyone has that KFC money where we can just put our feet up and do whatever we want, just taking people's time slots in radio shows and getting to talk about whatever he wants. If you just want to just tune yourself out and just relax and chill, you get yourself a Coors Light. You see the Blue Mountains on the bottles and the cans. You know it is ready to drink. It is ice cold, and it will take you to that retired state of mind. It's perfect for all your summer plans or lack thereof. No judgment here. I love that part of the ad the most because, honestly, we all thought we had these grand summer plans, these grandiose summer plans. And you know what me and Phil are doing during the Mets games? We're we're doing our fantasy football homework for the draft coming up because that's kind of where we are as a fan base, unfortunately. But we're still rooting. So this summer, chill like you're retired with Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Drizzly or Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/believe. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. And I said it, we're going to be having this retired state of mind for the rest of the season. Next year, we're back. The Blue Mountains will still be there. And I'm looking at the wild card race that's going on. a couple games go the right way and we don't sell, we would be in this mix right now. So I'm not going to complain. We're going to be all right next year as long as we, my boy Yoshi is basically the entire thing. And Phil's laughing at me right now.
No, I'm laughing because if a couple of games go right, it's like, if we had swept 3 from the Royals instead of getting swept, that's 4.5 out right there. And then you go back to June, it's like, if they just win 4 of those games where they scored 6 runs and lost, they're in a wild card spot.
Oh my God. And still, you're still just looking at a rotation where you're throwing Cookie, McGill, and Peterson, who McGill went 5, so I can't really get on him. But the other 2 going 3 2/3 in 3 innings. It's like, what are we even doing?
None of these are really good starts versus a Pirates team that's very depleted.
Yes.
But, they didn't get shelled in. They didn't have a crooked number, I guess, is the best way to say it. But none of them are good.
The great DJ Stewart is now, just hitting bombs whenever he wants. That's nice to see. I guess I'll give that as a win to Epler. If Stewart could just do everything we wanted Vientos to do, like that's a win, right? That feels like a little bit of a win. He bats lefty, so it's like we get that lefty bat that we've been missing since Vogelback decided to stop swinging. I'm going to consider this an absolute win. Pete is showing, stuff here and there, which is all you can ask for. And that's guys, we're making chicken salad out of chicken shit. We're doing our best right here to
Jonathan Arauz homered the other night. He went back-to-back with DJ Stewart.
Yeah. And if you want to just look at how a team, and the Mets are always going to have hype, good or bad, no matter what, just because they're the Mets, right? If we go on a losing streak, everyone laughs at us. If any other team goes on a losing streak, it's just ignored. The scene in Wrigley last night was incredible. The Christopher Morel home run. I know it's the White Sox and it's kind of a crosstown rivalry there, but Luis Robert pimping that fucking bomb the night before. And then Morel, honestly, that was at the very least like an NLDS clinching home run celebration. That was the most unbelievable. You forget that it was like a game in the middle of August. This is literally the dog days right now. I know it's a crosstown rivalry. I've never seen anything I'm trying to think I don't think the Mets have ever had a moment like that against the Yankees, right? Where we're ripping jerseys off while rounding third. And hey, I love it. Make baseball fun. But have we ever had anything like that?
Not rounding third, but last year when Starling Marte walked him off, I think he was getting his jersey ripped off on his way to second.
Yeah. I
don't want to say that.
That's fair. I feel like when you get those game-winning hits, though, it's usually your teammates are mobbing you. It's rare you see the guy actually rip off the jersey. Obviously, if Pete take off the hat, shoot it like a 3 against the Cardinals. But I look at the Cubs, I look at the Marlins after they had that series against the Yankees, and I'm like, it's so sad that we went from 101 win, fine oiled machine last year to being like, man, I wish we had what the Cubs and the Marlins have right now. And Cody Bellinger, that was a pretty good pick. I think, Phil, you were on the record. You wanted the Mets to take a little flyer on him, right?
I thought he had a good bounce back. I wasn't expecting this, though. This is a different version of Bellinger where if he didn't miss a month, I think, in the season, he'd probably be, in the thick of an MVP race. Well, when I say that, probably, second or third because Acuna is, far and away the best. But you know what I mean. He'd be a finalist. Yeah,
so it's things are going to get better, Mets fans. Things are going to get better. And they're going to get better because we're bringing in Farmer Phil. Farmer Phil is going to go down on the farm, a.k.a. Mike Mayer and Joe DeMayo's tweets, and he is going to give us some stuff to believe in for anyone that hasn't been on social media or seen any of our future Met heroes. Tell us what they're doing right now in the minor leagues.
Joe DeMayo quote tweeted this guy, Ben Balder. Mets 17-year-old shortstop Jeremy Rodriguez is hitting 400, 514, 633 since being traded at the deadline for Tommy Pham. So Tommy Pham got us a good 17-year-old in the Dominican Summer League. I think that's what DSL stands for. But yeah,
I like that we're translating the tweets live on it. So it's like DSL. Honestly, you sold me on it. That sounds about right. Dominican Summer League.
Yeah, and the Diamondbacks have had one of the quietest collapses I think I've ever seen. Before the 4th of July, they were in first place. Corbin Carroll was second in the MVP race. They were all fun. And then they got swept by the Mets. Cookie tossed eight innings, 1 runner, whatever it was, versus them. And they're in third place now, just clinging on to dear life. So I just want to talk about that.
Yeah, I'm the Rays stuff is wild, and now that Wander is, I don't know when Wander's coming back. And I think someone tweeted something. I was Carlos Gomez or whatever his name is, and he's like, "Oh, this sounds like it could be bad." I can't take these legal reports off of talking heads seriously. Oh, Phil has sources here. It seems like Phil might be disagreeing with me, but it sounds
no. I'm just saying, like right now, I would expect him to literally not play a game until we get told something. Like, I mean, Jeff Passan said Dominican authorities are investigating that, so it's super serious. I don't want to touch that.
That's not a good story there, and that's some wild shit going on. So, yeah, and that's the thing is the Rays kind of looking back now, we should have known the Rays were frauds when we beat them, right? It's like
when Tyler McGill went like 6 innings, 2 runs versus them, that should have been the sign.
And it's good for the Orioles, who had their own, issue in a much different sense with Kevin Brown and all that kind of stuff. Who comes back is quoting Blink-182 verses, so they've reestablished the magic there in Baltimore. It's been crazy, but you mentioned it before. We're in the AL East, and the segment that I guess will become like a weekly segment if we need to fill some time here. If we're not talking about the big league Mets, we're going to go across town. Misery loves company. The New York baseball Yankees. Below 500, the latest since 1992, I believe, is what I read.
You see, I've never lived in a world where the Yankees were below 500 this late into the year. I think they said it's the first time since 95. So, like 95, they were under 500 going into September. That was like 120-something games. 92 was their last losing season. 92 was the year my sister was born, so she hasn't even seen that either.
Meek's sister Phil was born in a world with this.
So what was the world like in the Yankees' last losing season, Clem?
So let's see. I was 10, so it makes me feel old that your sister was just born and you were not born, but I was 10. The Yankees were kind of just background noise to me, like you knew who they were. You heard all the stories, and I was, in my life, the Mets had supplied hell of a lot more entertainment because I didn't remember 86, but 88, and you had just like, Doc and Darryl were just huge stars, and Mattingly was awesome too. But like just when you start reading the papers and stuff, the Yankees would take a lot of shit in the papers because they were not doing what the old Yankees had done. So it is wild to think that like this Yankees team, and the one thing I'll say that's good for Yankees fans, I feel like if they don't blow it up now, they're never blowing it up. Like, just give Cashman and Aaron Boone lifetime deals at this point. Because if you don't blow it up after this season, they're never going to blow it up. I see Judge is taking heat now. Like, some Yankees fans are becoming Frank Flemings now. Like, he's smiling right now. And then, did you hear Michael Kay and Don LaGreca going at it on the radio? They were like fighting over and then it's like Kay is now being seen as a Yankee shill because he's telling people everything's going to be all right. And like you said, there's literally Yankees fans who've never experienced this kind of shit. This is the darkness we were raised in. We are Bane, we were molded by the darkness, and they are just getting into it now. So it's tough over there in the Bronx. And you called it, Phil. If you're a flawed team in any sense, just a little flawed, the Braves are going to find like the fucking problem and they're going to destroy you. And that is exactly what happened here. You called it.
I mean, yeah, the Braves, do we think they're cheating? I mean, I saw the stat. I think they have on 115 plus mile per hour balls hit, they have like double than what the number 2 team is. Like, it's absurd, like how far ahead they are in certain categories. Yeah. And also it's like, TBS showed the stats, like they're on pace for the highest slugging percentage team of all time. So you're telling me this team is better than the juiced ball era 2019, the steroid era teams of the 90s. Like, this is a team that's far and away better. Little fishy.
It's extremely fishy. PitchCom has been hacked. I really wish Frank would just take the ball and run with like maybe being like the conspiracy theory baseball guy instead of being the guy who rallies teams to perform better against the Mets. If he could maybe, and if he, he swings and connects someone and this pitch comp thing is true, he's back to being a hero to the Mets faithful, but I'm kind of believing this pitch comp thing because dude, you're talking about like, what do I remember back from the 90s? I remember the fucking Texas Rangers back in the day with like Juan Gonzalez and Pudge Rodriguez, and just every guy was just mashing the shit out of the ball. You're dealing with, Barry Bonds with God knows the cream, the clear, and everything else, and Balco going through his system. Jeff Kent in the same lineup. Just absolute fucking ogres everywhere. Go watch the 99 home run derby. That's what my childhood was like. It was actually pretty awesome. The fact that the Braves could be setting records that those guys did, and in this time where it's not like the ball is comically juiced, right? It's not like our numbers aren't crazy this year, right?
Nothing super crazy, but like the Braves are literally far and away. Like I think of like 40 more home runs than a team that's like second or something. Like they're far and away like the best.
And Matt Olson just being dropped into that lineup for
nothing.
Yeah,
I have right here 232 and 188. That's the difference.
Jesus Christ, man, that's wild. And like the fact that they just got, you can live with, hey, you get your guys, you develop them, you put a gun to their head and make them sign a contract for under market value. Hey,
you put a gun to the Billy Bean's head and say, give us your players for ransom money, and that's it.
Is this like Billy Bean getting back at the Mets for like not helping him become the prospect or the player he could have been? Because he admits it in Moneyball that he was not that good of a player. He just had the tools or whatever. He just looked like the player, right?
The deleted Moneyball scene where Brad Pitt's doing the chop.
Yeah, exactly. But like, I think you tweeted the other day, it's like the Braves are good enough just with their system to just get two fucking Oakland A's who were good in Oakland. But Murphy I mentioned Murphy like 2 or 3 years ago on the podcast, be like, maybe the Mets can get him before we knew what Alvarez was going to become. And I was like, but like
you didn't expect this.
Yeah, the numbers were still a little raw or whatever. And now he's just a straight up murderer. And then Olsen, I mean, behind Freeman, is he the second best first baseman in the National League right now?
Probably, yeah, because Goldschmidt took a step back and Pete missed like a few weeks of that hand injury and also slumped. But
yeah. So it's filthy right now, man. It's filthy. So whatever they're doing there, I don't like it very much. So misery loves company. Yankees fans, trust us. We're in our own misery, but we're gonna have to like just look across town and be like, their house is on fire, but we at least bought insurance for the fire. We bought some fire insurance back at the trade deadline, and we're just gonna watch. What was it? Ryan Clifford. I got this stat here.
Drew Gilbert's crushing Double-A since we got him. What did I say? 326 average, 848 OPS, 5 multi-hit games in 11 games. And we got him for that was the Verlander trade, which both the prospects from that are actually doing really well in their grounds.
Yep. So Drew Gilbert just getting hot ever since we got him. I'll give you guys like the way my stupid baseball brain works, that I like convince myself things are going to be all right. Drew Gilbert was on pace. He was going to be an all-star. He was going to be a very good player. He just has the talent. Everyone knows he would have went higher in the draft, but it was a slot issue. Astros said, we don't care. We're going to pay. The Mets then said, we want that guy. We don't care. We're going to pay. We'll give you Verlander and a bunch of cash. We get him back. You get a guy who, I mean, you're going to hear the word hyper competitive with Drew Gilbert probably his entire career at this point. You trade that guy, then it's, Michael Jordan meme. I took that personally. This is going to be the fire that lights. That's going to be the fire that lights him all the way to Cooperstown, and that's how I'm going to believe that.
Also, Verlander pitched last night versus the Marlins. 5 innings, 9 hits, 4 earned, 2 walks, 2 Ks. Verlander's stuff was declining when we had him, so it makes you think, like, is this the end of the road for him? Like, they're probably smart for not going into 2024 with them and just getting the prospects.
Yeah, I mean, every Verlander start that looked anything like that for us the next, month and a half, we'd be like, oh, shit, we should have definitely shipped this guy out. Yeah. And then even with every good start, you're saying, all right, well, I hope he has this or anything near this next season because, again, you have a $43 million on the hook and then an option after that. So they did the right thing. That's just a no fucking brainer at this point. The other stat here I saw, this was Matt Brownstein. Among 218 minor league hitters with a minimum 400 plate appearances season, Ryan Clifford owns the 9th highest WRC plus, which that's our thing where 100 is average. Is that correct? WRC plus? So he's at 149. So he's above average, very well above average there, 149, hundreds an average player. So that just makes me feel good. The big red dog is crushing down there in Brooklyn, and I'm feeling good about that. And that's all you can ask for. We're just trying to find some fucking silver linings in this goddamn awful season.
Imagine if we were the Padres who were 5.5 out in a seller's market and just didn't do anything.
Yeah. what's it called? That steal home last night was very cool by Fernando Tatis.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, that's
made them 5.5 games out of a wild card spot, whatever it is, with 40 games left. Very cool.
Very cool. And that's the kind of stuff us old Mets fans we'd be all fired up right now. All right, we just got to win some games, get into the wild card mix without worrying about the future at all. Speaking of the future, I was bummed about this. Ohtani looks like, based on the schedule, will not be starting in Citi Field when he's here. What is that? About a week or so?
That's next weekend.
Next weekend. Would you want Ohtani on the mound and the Mets to give him like a nice standing ovation? It's basically our one time to recruit Mets fans, and even I don't think the dickhead Mets fans would like boo him or give him. I think we could maybe even do a Ohtani chant. That could have been something electric. So
every time Ohtani steps up to the plate, there should be a standing ovation for him. Every time Eduardo Escobar steps up to the plate, there should be a standing ovation for him too.
Yep.
And I'm being serious. I think I talked to Frank about this. We said this. Max Scherzer comes back next week. We do not want a like thank you video for him, right?
Yeah, no.
That would be like the last straw. Like you didn't do anything.
Or maybe we can do like I will remember you, like a heartfelt song.
As a highlight to all of his home runs versus the Padres and Braves.
All the home runs he gave up. Or we just play Acuna highlights on the scoreboard. And it's just all the Acuna highlights that we got thanks to we got Luis Angel Acuna for Max Scherzer. That could be the other way to go about it.
It would be funny if like they have like this whole introduction. It's like, oh, thank you video. And it's like, oh, it's for Travis Jankowski with the Rangers instead of Max Scherzer.
That thing the other day too, Scherzer, when he got a strikeout because of the pitch clock and he actually seemed pissed about it, he like threw the ball away. Such a Max Scherzer hard of fucking.
And look, he's cooking with Texas. I think it's like 3 starts with like 1.8 ERA, but we know when a big game, when you need Max Scherzer to get you a win, he'll probably get battered around and suck your momentum out of you.
Yep. And God almighty. That is one.
And it's coming.
You talk about the Verlander stuff where every loss or every bad start would have like hurt extra. Any Scherzer start would have been, and that option next year would have just grown bigger and bigger as a boogeyman in my head every time he, either just gave the lead back after the Mets took the lead in like the top of the inning or something, or, gave up 3 home runs in an inning. And you're just like, what the fuck are we even doing here, Max? So, yeah, someone said a no thank you video to Scherzer. I like that. He's on pace to start against us too?
I think he's online to start Monday, but I could be wrong.
Okay. That will be interesting too. Like the whole, I'm very interested to hear I would love to know the truth of like how Scherzer was received in the clubhouse. Because when we went and we talked to people on the field last year, it seemed like everyone was pretty cool. I remember them saying like Scherzer loved the family center that the Wilpons, the Cohens had put in. It's like the biggest in maybe American sports or at least baseball. And I think he was like buying into being a part of like the whole culture there. And he obviously bought the house in Long Island. But when you're taking shots through, obviously I can't imagine everyone loved the quotes that he had that us fans hated. I imagine some of the players were kind of taken aback by them. Whatever went on with Verlander, me and Phil, I think until our dying breath, will believe he was the anonymous Mets source or at least told the anonymous Mets source to say it. Yeah, that's going to be an interesting little, comeback there. I'm interested to see how that all pans out.
I mean, we were expecting DeGrom to get some tribute video, but I don't think he's traveling with the team.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Like, when will Jacob DeGrom ever be seen at Citi Field again at this point, right? Like,
I don't think they come to Citi Field next year either. It would be like 2025 when he steps on a mound. It'd be like, thank you for this. It'd be a little overdue. Like, that'd be 3 years removed from his last game with us.
And it could be like his last season at that point too. Like God knows what he's gonna. I honestly don't hope that's the case.
I mean, if he's not traveling with the team, I can't imagine he's just taking a trip to New York just for a smattering of claps from like a half-hearted crowd.
At some point, Stevie will do something. A Jacob DeGrom day. Okay. Well, I guess we'll throw this hypothetical out there. Jacob DeGrom, do you retire his number?
No.
I don't think he can. I don't think, and it's crazy too, because I think if he were to finish his career here, he would have had a chance. But it was so it's really like his career is so fleeting when you look back at it, and again, a lot of the stuff, obviously the tweet that you had that we love, just never getting the wins and stuff like that. But there's just like, two Cy Youngs, a rookie of the year. And, at his best, I think the best pitcher I've ever seen, it's like him or like Pedro in his prime. But when he became that like next level up, you never saw him. You saw him a handful of times in the year, and then he just go, back on the injured list.
Yeah.
So I don't think
I don't think he pitched enough to where you can like make the case for retiring his number.
Yeah, I think the easy thing is the Mets Hall of Fame, which is a nice thing.
That'll get into. Yeah,
that's a layup. Some of the guys in there, I'm like, how the fuck did we get some of these guys in there? He's a layup for that, but I don't know. And I was saying when I went to the Mike Piazza Hall of Fame induction, my buddy and I, and we're like, is this the last Met we'll see get in here for years and years and years? Because obviously after Piazza, there was just that like black pit, other than, Wright and Reyes were some bright spots, but their careers didn't turn into Cooperstown. And then everything lately, like DeGrom was the only guy who maybe had a chance, and that's clearly not going to happen now. So I don't know the next Met Hall of Famer we're going to have.
If these guys play out the contracts, it's probably going to be Lindor maybe and Nimmo, because Nimmo may end up having like a 13-year career or like 14-year career, whatever it is in New York.
That's true. Life as a Mets fan. I can't believe we're back here. I'm looking at Hall of Famers right now. Actually, let me take a quick look just because we had mentioned Wander earlier and you just mentioned Lindor. Let's go to the Fangraphs war right now.
I saw it earlier. I think Lindor is 10th, but he'll likely pass the guy that used to play for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, we won't. He shall not be named. He's 10th. So Francisco Lindor right now is 10th in WAR, 244 average. I know people don't like that, but 331 on base, 460 slugging, Gold Glove defense. He is currently tied. He's tied for first in WAR for shortstops. And it is the man who shall be named for Tampa, and Bobby Wood Jr. is making a push right now.
He's been really good. He had an inside the park home run the other night. He flies around the bases.
Fucking flies, man. 23 bombs, 34 steals. So him and Wander are 1-2, and then Lindor is 3. But just like a reminder, Francisco Lindor is still good, no matter how ugly his batting average may look at the time. Well, once we're bringing up Kansas City Royals on the podcast, I think we got to go Grittin now. So let's go Grittin. Yep. We're going to bring in the closer. Pavs, if you want to hop in, you can, unless he's getting ready for Barstool Radio. All right. For the people listening on the pod, the top columns, we got the Twins, the Braves, and All-Star, made an All-Star team. And then the rows from top to bottom, the Phillies, the Mariners, and MVP. So MVP. Let's see. And I do think the secret to this game is relief pitchers. If you can get relief pitchers, you're going to get a low number. You're going to have guys that bounce around the league. I know my boy Nate Dogg, he always says backup quarterbacks is kind of the secret sauce for football. So let's go here. We got Twins, Phillies. Anybody have a good Twins, Phillies?
You want the reliever? Pat Neshek.
Who?
Pat Neshek.
Oh, wow. All right.
He also would have worked for Phillies All-Star too, but there's so many others you can use for that.
All-Star can get interesting. All-Star can get very interesting. All right. Braves, Philly. This guy is going to be one of my least favorite players of all time. I don't even know who we're going to pick, but if you were a Brave and a Philly, I hate your guts. All right, Pabs, give it to me, baby.
Craig Kimbrell. I hate him in general, and the fact that he's on top. Brave.
There are a lot of guys we could use. Like we could have used Cole Hamels for that. Because he pitched one game as a Brave.
Did he really?
In 2020. Shit. He's actually the one that taught Max Fried to throw like a better curveball or something, and that's why he developed more better as a starter. Allegedly, that's like what the story is.
Interesting. Phillies All-Star. I'm going to go ex-Met. We're kind of talking problematic guys. I think you guys know where I'm going to go with that. There was a time where you want to talk about, baseball being back in the day.
I want to see the percentage on this because this is like 80s.
Yeah, when he turned himself into was it 93? He finished second in the MVP. Let's
Yeah.
see. I also don't like. There's a chance he might have not made the All-Star team that year, just because like he might have had a hot second half. 2%. All right.
All right.
Okay.
Can we get Mariners All-Star out the way because I got a good one for that.
Yes, please.
Daniel Vogelback.
Oh, really? He
Yeah,
made the All-Star
2019.
team. 2019, huh?
I think he was their only All-Star that year.
So that's one of those like we have to put someone from the Mariners in there, and he got the Mariners.
Yeah, but he was a
basically.
good player that year, so it's not like it wasn't undeserving.
By the way, Lenny Dykstra in 1993 went from, granted, he like doubled his amount of games played, but he went from 6 home runs to 19 home runs, led the league in plate appearances, at bats, runs, hits, and walks. Jesus Christ. Daniel Vogelback, well done, Meek. Appreciate that. I'm sure that's going to piss some people off just seeing his face, especially as the Mets hat on. Mariners Twins. I'm worthless to you guys in this one. Like small market, double small market teams. I don't even know if Seattle's even a small market, but I don't know, man.
I got this one. I think you can use him twice. Favorite baseball player, Dickey. R.A. Dickey again.
Dickey was Mariners Twins,
and I think he was a Brave. Am I right, Phil?
Yeah, he played for it's like Mariners, Twins, Mets, Rangers, Braves,
Blue Jays.
Blue Jays. I think we got all of them.
Getting a knuckleballer is kind of like having a reliever too. They usually do end up on a bunch of teams. Like I don't know if Charlie Huff was on a bunch, but shit, I didn't. Okay, so, and I love that your guy is R.A. Dickey. I mean, anyone that lived through the R.A. like. I want to tell my kids about the R.A. Dickey season. It was the most magical experience I think I've had. It was the Jeremy Lin season, basically, as a Mets fan, right? Like out of nowhere, a completely different dude. So do you want him for Twins Mariners or you want him for Mariners Braves?
Let's go Twins Mariners.
Yeah, we don't want to put him underneath the Braves column, right?
No, he's not a Brave.
On that. Fuck that. 2%. Nice. You know what? With RA, I always thought I knew Blue Jays, I knew Mets, I knew Rangers, and I didn't know how much he bounced around before then. I haven't like looked at his baseball reference page in a while, so that's good to know for the future. Also, my guy, you know who my guy was? I don't know if he was on the Mariners, so I don't think we can use him, but I know he's a coach on the Braves. My guy Sal Fasano. Do you guys remember like the rise of Sal Fasano that one random year where he just came out of nowhere? You guys aren't too young for that, right? Okay,
I don't remember that.
I've heard the name.
Yeah, he had like he just like showed up one day. He's a catcher. Actually, let me see if I can pull up a picture of Sal Fasano here. He just showed up one day and he looked like straight up like a Kenny Powers guy with like a mustache, and everyone just fell in love with him. He was like this heavy catcher. The Yankees got him. He started just mashing. The Phillies had him for a bit. Let me see if I can get a picture of Sal Fasano here. There we go. I'll pull it up here for the people watching on the pod. Pavs, this guy was like a viral sensation for a hot minute. It was a beautiful thing. Tell me that isn't a beautiful man right there. Tell me that isn't a beautiful man right there.
Now that I see him, I recognize him. The name did not ring a bell.
He came on the Yankees. He got a hot streak. My boy Bala was a huge fan of his. They had like a Sal Fasano like fan day where all these Yankee fans used to just meet up. They put fake mustaches on. Just guys being dudes. Just fun baseball dude stuff. All right, so let's go back to the grid here. So we got to do Braves Mariners. I feel like there has to be someone pretty fun for this one.
Let's keep it Mets in that middle row. You can go Robinson Cano, I believe.
Don't you know? Yes, you can. We all thought, like, we'll go back to the archives here. We thought we were fucking Cano with that. We all thought we were so fucked. And I don't remember, did he have like a big RBI and a big moment against us? 18% is higher.
He had like a 3-hit game and then didn't get another hit again. So
yep, that's it. Okay, so now the bottom row here. MVP for the Twins. I have one, but I imagine it's going to be a high percentage here. I don't know. What do you guys have anything?
You can go with Morneau, Mauer, Rod Carew, Harmon Killebrew. Maybe it.
I'd say Carew or Killebrew.
Yeah, I don't think Tuck ever won one.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And I thought Morneau, so I know Morneau is going to be, like 50% or something. Yeah. So do we go Killebrew or we go Carew? Carew sometimes is sneaky. he's sneaky on the list, but I don't know how either of their numbers are going to be. We'll go Killebrew because I don't think I've ever seen Killebrew on here. Oh, shit, 17%. Handsome man, strapping young man right there. Atlanta Braves MVP. All right, let's fucking stick the dagger in our guts here. Who do we want to throw on here for the fucking? Is there anyone who isn't going to hurt me as a Brave? Like I could throw Chipper on there. It's the last guy in the fucking.
Did Terry Pendleton hurt you?
No, nothing but love for Terry Pendleton.
I remember when I asked Frank. It was a video I made months ago. I asked Frank his top 5 Braves of all time, and then Big Cat made fun of him. I was like, "You left out Terry Pendleton? You had a fat ass." So that's how I remember that.
Well, I mean, in that case, we have to throw Terry Pendleton on there. Oh my God! And then All-Star MVP. So I'm gonna look this up right now.
We can get Knicks on the grid if you want. This guy's related to the Knicks, yeah. Elston Howard, Josh Hart's great uncle.
Well, that's a fucking serious. Let's see. All right. I mean, we're going to become a Knicks podcast and a Giants and Jets podcast at some point here. Holy shit! All right, rarity score 77. Good job, boys. Elston Howard 0.08. That had something to do with that. Holy shit, Phil.
That's what I said. Josh Hart's great uncle. I remember that was a story when we traded for him. So we got the Knicks on the grid somehow.
So I just searched it. MVPs who were not all-stars. Because you're thinking you can't get if you win the MVP, you should have been an all-star.
I know Bryce Harper wasn't an all-star his MVP year. Yeah. I think Joey Votto wasn't. Besides that, I don't know.
I got an article here, and it's from 2012. So those guys probably aren't even on there. Who was it? Harper, you said, and who else?
Harper was. And Votto was 2010, but I don't think he was an all-star that year.
Okay. So the people listed here, Rollins in 07, who obviously that's after the Mets gagged it away. He probably just got hot with the Phillies. Morneau, who we mentioned for the other fucking column, the Twins column. Chipper, who we mentioned for the Braves column. Juan Gonzalez, who I randomly mentioned earlier. Holy shit. Terry Pendleton was not an all-star in 1991. That's hilarious. Robin Yount, who I've thrown on there a few times. Kirk Gibson in 88. Willie Stargell, who I feel like Frank probably has like an affinity for. He might hate. I don't know. Dave Parker, Hal Newhouser, Phil Cavaratto, and Hammer and Hank Greenberg. A little fucking baseball perspectives. Bunch of fun facts for you fellas there. So there's the grid, 77 rarity score, not too bad. I guess we can this will be our lead-in for Barstool Radio. A lot of talks about radio schedules, lead-ins, all that kind of stuff.
And also the bar watch on Tuesday night. We should talk about that.
Yep. Barstool Bar Watch watch party on Tuesday night. What's the name of the bar again?
I think it's at Blue Haven again.
Oh, it's back to Blue Haven. So we're going back.
Yeah.
Hey, we're reversing the streams. Maybe that's what we need in a cursed season. Like we left Blue Haven and Blue Haven was like, what the fuck, guys? So we now need to go to Blue Haven, reverse the streams, and maybe the Mets go on a run unseen since the Miracle Mets. And it's all going to be because of a watch party at Blue Haven on Tuesday night. So you get your Coors Lights there. Last time they had the Coors Light, Kyle used to always know the name of it too, where they would just pour them for like the entire Thunderstruck song. Electric atmosphere. We'll be out there having some fun, some drinks, and cheering on the Metsies. Mets Brewers? No, Mets Rangers.
Mets. No, it's Mets Braves.
Mets Braves. Shit.
I know we have Braves, and then we have Brewers for the other watch party. So.
For the other watch, yeah, and then we have the other watch party. It is Mets Phillies. It's going to be in September, same night the Giants play the 49ers as well. So that should be a good one. But Mets Braves, and I'm looking at it now. McGill Morton. So we have a chance. We have a chance in that game. That's all you can ask for at this point. So we'll see you guys next week. And as always, gotta believe.
Gotta believe.
Gotta believe.